doctrine exploded because we knew something important. When I go to Washington, D.C., I don't go sightseeing. I don't go to see Washington Lincoln Memorial. I go to see who is pulling the strings against Nigerian people. Right now, your national security advisor, Alhaji Nuhu Ribadu, is essentially living in Washington, D.C. He kind of lives there. Everyone in town among the power brokers told me that they laugh when they see him. He is everywhere. He prostrates. He dobale, begging Trump officials. You've seen the glossy photos. Look at them. Look. It looks like he has hired a photographer who follows him around. Look at them. Look at the photographs. The photo op handshakes with Vice President J.D. Vance of the United States. He's almost kneeling down. The phony smiles of Ribadu's, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Look carefully at these photographs. It's a disgrace. My question is simple. Why is Ribadu suddenly dressing like a Washington insider while Nigeria burns? I could not recognize him. When I first saw the picture, I was like, is that Ribadu? The arrogant barbariga is not no more. He used to oppress people in Nigeria. Suddenly, the flowing agbada and northern security mystique disappears. Once hired Washington cameras appear. Now it is blue tie, Western suit, State Department smile, Brooks Brothers suit. And he talks about so-called strategic partnership. This is my opinion of him. This is my opinion of what they're doing. This is not diplomacy, ladies and gentlemen. This is desperation. Tinubu and Ribadu want you to believe this is so-called strategic cooperation in inverted commas, open and close. I'm here to tell you, this looks more like a survival tour. Look at him. Look at Ribadu performing the ballet in front of VP Vance. Wonder shall never cease to end, my brothers and sisters. This is a regime preservation tour. A survival tour by a bad and cunning Tinubu regime. Ribadu is Washington, D.C. because the May 6 doctrine I talked about in the last viral podcast has also rock in a chokehold. But while Ribadu is smiling in D.C., look at his face. The mask has just slipped. Ladies and gentlemen, get your popcorn and pepper soup and enjoy what I'm about to talk about. This is the Offiong Aqua show, my brothers and sisters. Issue 1, the official script. Bayo Onanuga's press release. 2, is it 3 days ago? Look at the official narrative. On May 9th, just a couple of days ago, Bayo Onanuga released a statement praising Ribadu's quote and unquote working visit. He spoke about kinetic and non-kinetic strategies, big grammar. Meanwhile, petrol and food prices are crushing over 240 million Nigerians. They don't care about kinetic and non-kinetic. Languages you got from a dictionary. Onanuga told the world that Ribadu briefed President Vance on how Nigeria is supposedly, quote, a frontline partner protecting vulnerable communities. Then, why were missiles shot into the Sultan of Sokoto Caliphate? But here is the real analysis, the Aqua analysis. Why do you need a media parade to advertise a partnership that has supposedly existed for decades? This has been there. So why do you need a media parade? Why the panic press releases by Onanuga? Why the photo ops? Why the sudden Western rebranding, wearing Western suits when all your life you are worn that uniform? Because in my opinion, this is not coincidence. This is called fear management. They're trying to preempt the narrative, which has already formed. I saw it in DC. It has formed. It has ossified in DC. It can never change. Let me just say, Ribadu, you're wasting your time. We have already, at the ICON proceedings, alerted Trump to this game of chicken played by Bola Tinubu. Onanuga's release, in my opinion, reads like a polished script designed to hide a rotting reality underneath. And Nigerians should ask, if everything is under control, according to to Ribadu. Why does the regime suddenly sound so nervous? Very nervous. They are in trouble and they know it. Issue 2, the smoking gun, the silence order. While the talkative Onanuga was typing that press release, Sahara Reporters was preparing what they described as a bombshell. It came out yesterday, on May 11th. Reports emerged, alleging that this same Ribadu you saw in those photos issued directives to the Nigerian military to reduce or conceal reporting surrounding Boko Haram and ISWAP attacks. He is hiding. He's hiding. If true, think about the implication. In Washington, Ribadu, in his ill-fitting suit and photo op, tells Marco Rubio, I am fighting Islamic terror. Are you sure you are not part of it? Back home, reports now suggest pressure to minimize public visibility of attacks and insecurity. Tell the Americans there's nothing to see. He reportedly is meeting privately with the Sultan of Sokoto, who has been hiding, to report to him about this U.S. thing. By the way, is the Sultan still hiding in Owerri under the protection of Opuzo, the mother governor? This is what we hear. We hear he hides in Owerri. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see the contradiction? This is my opinion. The regime, the Tinubu regime, wants Washington to see stability, while Nigerians see funerals. All you have to do is look at Nigerian papers. Funerals of helpless Christians who are victims of ISWAP, the Islamic terrorist group Trump bombed on Christmas Day. Nigeria sees the continuation of Sharia that many of us believe enabled this violence. Tinubu wants Polish diplomacy abroad and silence at home so he can rig elections. And this is where the suit symbolism matters. It matters a lot because once Ribadu lands in Washington, D.C., the entire image changes. Suddenly, no northern strongman image. No more born to rule arrogance. No local political theater. No Islamic security mistake. Now it is a clean suit by lobbyists who tell him, where the sword? Wait, oh. This is a carefully staged diplomacy, but Nigerians are asking, which Ribadu is the real Ribadu? Is it the one in Abuja or the one in Washington, D.C.? Which one? The Washington diplomat? Or the security chief providing over the national collapse, security national collapse of Nigeria? And let me say this carefully, and I'm addressing this to the Honorable Senator Rubio and Vice President Vance. If these reports are true, that man that was shaking your hand may also be, if they're true, may also be presiding over the concealment of the very violence Washington says threatens global stability. The very violence. Ribadu must answer the question, yes or no. Do you support the violent Sharia in the 12 Caliphate northern states or not? Yes or no? This is not a small accusation. Those officials of Trump will ask him that question next time. I promise you. This is geopolitical dynamite. Ladies and gentlemen. Issue 3. The betrayal. Why Tinubu may have turned or may be turning now against this same Ribadu. There's another layer here. You know, I always peel the onions. Ribadu may not just be fighting for international legitimacy. My sources say internal trust inside Aso Rock may already be collapsing between him and the president. According to information reaching me, Ribadu reportedly became aware of concerns surrounding the story I mentioned the last time, the alleged 6 billion euro scandal involving Wale Edu and Cardoso months ago. But instead of directly escalating everything internally, questions are now reportedly being raised about who knew what about that and when. This is where things become dangerous politically. Because if Tinubu now believes information, any information, including his recent meetings, was selectively managed around him by Ribadu, then the trust is broken. Many feel it is. That he does not tell the president the truth always. And once a Nigerian president, this is my opinion, and once a Nigerian president stops trusting his NSA, the clock starts ticking. That is my opinion. I have repeatedly said this is how I feel. The power structure is fracturing internally. That is my expert opinion. The smiles in Washington, D.C. may actually be hiding panic inside Aso Rock. It should fall. The fallout from all of this. Enter the Homeland Advisor. Now look at, please, I hope you're following me. It's like a chess game. Now look at what happened next. Tinubu suddenly appoints Major General, retired Major General Abdullahi Maikano as Homeland Security Advisor. That's not in Nigerian Constitution, that position, by the way. From nowhere, ladies and gentlemen, he makes this appointment. Homeland Security? Are we in America? Which kind of copy be this? Homeland Security care. Ask yourself the obvious question. Why create another security structure when Nigeria already has an NSA, even though that NSA lives in DC? Why? You want to know my opinion? Because I think Ribadu is being slowly phased out. In my opinion, Tinubu now sees Ribadu less as a protector. He believes Ribadu would rather work for the Sultan of Sokoto, in my opinion, and more as a political liability and a slippery snake. He sees Ribadu as a slippery snake. The regime is restructuring itself in real time. That's why that guy was appointed yesterday. And while Ribadu is busy smiling beside J.D. Dobale, new security architecture is quietly emerging behind his back. That is not coincidence. That is what insiders say. That is what sources tell me. That is political distancing. That spells trouble for Alhaji Nuhu Ribadu. Let me conclude with the Friday bombshell to my old and new subscribers. This is what regime instability looks like. This is how it looks like. They are turning on each other right in front of all of us. The smiles are becoming phony and forced. The Washington handshakes are becoming survivor performance, like Broadway performances. And Nigerians should understand something. Governments do not suddenly begin frantic image laundering tours unless pressure is building somewhere behind the scenes. You want to know how I really think? The international hammer I described in the last podcast has already begun swinging. And this weekend, I'll start preparing. Hopefully, we should get it out by Monday. I'll bring you the next layer. The European receipts, the fund trail, the characters connected to the so-called secret project.